number of your interviews, you've been talking about Azerbaijan and Armenia. And I am the most fervently pro-Azerbaijan person in Washington, D.C., so I have to raise this. And you and I together here in this interview, we're going to do a service to the nation.
Okay.
Because we're going to make the term Zangezur Corridor, well, not exactly a household name, but it's going to be. It's going to be.
At least people can pronounce it.
It's going to be. It's going to be something that at least a few thousand people are going to understand what the Zangezur Corridor is after we finish this discussion, because the Zangezur Corridor is 100% in your worldview. This is a realist position. We should be we should be supporting the Zangezur Corridor. It's good for Azerbaijan. It's good for Armenia. It's good for America. It unlocks all of the resources of Central Asia so that they can make it to Europe without being controlled by Russia or China. Why are you against the Zangezur Corridor?
So my position, and I was very clear here, to be consistent, is I don't think the U.S.
Just for everybody there, if you could just say Zangezur Corridor about 7 times.
Yeah, the Zangezur Corridor. And how about the Lachin Corridor? Although you'll now Lachin Corridor. Lachin. You're up by your pronunciations there too. So these are corridors that connect potentially parts of Armenia with other parts of let's just say the Nagorno Karabakh region that historically, and this gets into some complex history here, but has historically been ethnically, religiously Armenian Christian for a long time. There's a lot of history in all of these regions in the Soviet periphery, but 1994 onward has largely been viewed as an autonomous region governed separately that Azerbaijan has more or less just decided in a way that is not dissimilar to how Russia decided to invade the regions of the Donbass, its region that it's invaded in 2020, first through violence, and then September of this year, just a month ago, barreling right through and saying that we're not going to respect that anymore, this is ours. And so I think that that's no more a violation of the 1994 principles that we set into motion, for example, during the Budapest Memorandum that is fetishized in corridors not far from where we are today, yet completely forgetting about other 1994 agreements made in the post-Soviet era as well. And so to be crystal clear, I'm consistent on this, I do not think the U.S. should be militarily engaging here. My problem is the U.S. has been indirectly engaging by writing all kinds of exemptions. What is it, Section 907 exemptions or whatever that have allowed us to transfer arms to Azerbaijan that put Azerbaijan in a stronger position here. Special exemptions to the Trans-Adriatic pipeline for the Iran sanctions that found their way through Iran. And so my view is, it is, if I may just finish this thought.
You can finish it.
Yeah, because I think this is
we
at the periphery of U.S. interests.
We want America to be aware of the Zangezur Corridor here.
That's just true, but I think this is no more in America's interest to get involved here, no less in America's interest to get involved here than we are in Ukraine. But I think part of the reason why is that Ukraine and Azerbaijan have very effective lobbies in the United States of America. I mean, I think what we are fed is the conflict of good versus evil that we engage in versus a different good versus evil conflict that we turn our blind eye to, I think is an example of what I'm highlighting as inconsistency. But in my case, I would say no military engagement in either. Okay. And so that's where I just want to be crystal clear about what my position is.
I think you're 100% wrong on the facts. Three important facts. Number one, no arms are going to Azerbaijan from the United States. None, zero.
None have gone. None have gone to
no
the
arms. No arms. No arms. There are no
has not transferred
no
military
arms.
equipment by
no
sail.
Arms. Check me on this. Check me on this. YouTube, Google, check me on
via
this.
Israel or otherwise. None have made their way to Azerbaijan.
Israeli arms make it. That's Israeli arms. Those are not American arms. Those are not American arms.
But U.S. arms. Okay, so this will be a discussion for continuing.
Okay. No U.S. arms. Number two, I forgot what it was.
That's okay.
It's terrible.
It'll come back.
We can take this is horrible because we have to educate America here. But the third one is that Karabakh is Azerbaijan.
Oh no.
According
this is wrong.
Karabakh is Azerbaijan. Wait. I mean, you got your word. Let me just get.
It's like the Donbass saying the Donbass is Russia. Then
no.
It's Russian speaking.
No, Karabakh is Azerbaijan, recognized by the international community as Azerbaijani territory. Again, check me on this, you'll see. And it was multi-ethnic until Azerbaijan ethnically cleansed it. So that's the
I think you meant to say Armenian, but yeah.
What did I say? I'm sorry.
I think you meant to say Armenian.
Oh, thank you.
And that's
for
okay.
correcting
I
me.
know this is a confusing issue, so I won't fault you for it.
No. Armenia.
But it wasn't an ethnic cleansing. But you meant to say Armenia.
Armenia. Thank you. I appreciate that. Actually, Armenia ethnically cleansed it in 1993, and it's recognized internationally as Azerbaijani.
So we'll agree to disagree on the international recognition point.
But the corridor, Azerbaijan is the only country in the world that borders both Russia and Iran. If there is no Zangezur Corridor through Armenia, and we're just talking about a transport corridor, we're not talking about taking territory, an economic and transport corridor, which Armenia agreed to in the November 9th tripartite agreement at the ceasefire agreement at the end of the war. If that corridor opens up, it opens up the economy of Armenia. Mr. Pashinyan would like it, and if it's not opened up, then Azerbaijan has to connect to the West into its exclave of Nakhchivan through Iran. So we strengthen Iran, and we push Armenia into the arms of Iran as well if we don't open up that corridor. So that's in addition to all that it does for Central Asia.
Yeah.
I know what it was. I can't. Sorry.
Your second point.
My
second point.
Yeah.
And then we'll take some audience questions.
Yes, we will. We will. But that there's a strong Azerbaijani lobby, and you're the only person in American politics who doesn't think there's an Armenian lobby. This is just ridiculous.
I mean, I think SOCAR has funded a very effective operation in the United States.
Show me.
I mean, the Podesta Group. Let's start with that, right? The ex-Hillary Clinton. You could go straight down the Plouffe. I mean, you could go straight down the list.
Nancy,
and I'm not doing the impeachment by Democrats thing, but I'm just saying these are the people who are lobbying for Azerbaijan.
Nancy Pelosi, Menendez, Shifty Schiff, all of them. There isn't a single. Your talking points are the same as Schiff's.
Well, again, I'm not doing the impeachment by you said the same thing as somebody else thing, but look at the people who are lobbying for Azerbaijan.
I'm not.
Four of the most prominent lobbying firms in the U.S. But put that to one side. You brought it up. I think that this does not directly. We talk about Russia, Ukraine, talk about China, Taiwan, talk about of course what's happening in Israel. These directly relate to the American interest. I want to be crystal clear, despite the fact that I have tried to be educational about what's happening here to a lot of people who have no awareness of it. This is an area where I believe we are being inconsistent for the good versus evil crowd, right? I mean, this is a battle between good versus evil. That's what you've heard from much of the Republican Party. And I could tell you that probably the other Republican presidential candidates, until I was talking about it, never heard of Nagorno Karabakh. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. And so if they're talking about good versus evil in the Donbass region, which they hadn't heard about until 4 months before, then I think that it is inconsistent not to be talking about it in this case, where I come from the school of thought that we should not. I said this in my Principles of Realist Foreign Policy. Our military engagement should never be a moral crusade. It should be grounded in American self-interest. So I am not advocating for any American involvement here in Armenia, Azerbaijan. But that's a principled position that's consistent with the same reasons why I don't advocate for it in Russia and Ukraine either. That being said, I think that my top concern is what actually does advance American interests. And so far, thank God, we're not sending money and resources, military resources over there. But I am keen to make sure that we stop sending them to places like Ukraine, where we're on track with a bill to send $61 billion over there. So that's where I'm coming from.
I'm going to convert you to this.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I look forward to the discussion, because it's clear you've been close to this for a while, so I was here opposing
to the Zangezur Corridor.